Thanks for tuning in to another video, and for today I'm going to do a pros and cons video on the Google Fitbit Air. And first off, I want to thank Google for keeping me humble and making me purchase this with my own money. So let's talk about the pros. Let's get right into it. So the first pro is the price. This is $99 and there's no subscriptions. Well, actually there is a subscription, but I don't know if you really need it. More about that a little later. This is also very comfortable to sleep with, and there is no screen to turn on to wake you up in the middle of the night. The other pro is that the step counter and the heart rate are very accurate, but there was some issues with some data, so I'll get into that towards the end of the video. Now, even though there is no screen on this, there is an alarm, which is pretty nice. Let me just show you that. This is the Google Fitbit app, or the Google Health they're calling it now. So let me just click on that, and you just go into this little icon on top here, and Fitbit, you got to click on this, and you can see alarms, right? So you get an alarm, which is nice, and you can go ahead and set that, and I just tested it a couple minutes ago. But let's add a new alarm. And of course, you could just pick your alarm time. You just pick it normally like you do any other alarm. And then also you could schedule, what day you want it and repeat and all that kind of stuff. But then also you could have a smart wake. So the smart wake is an awesome feature. I actually didn't test it because I didn't want to get up any earlier than I had to. But if you do want to get up at your optimal sleep stage, then you can click on this and you still set your time, and it'll just kind of give you a range, and it'll wake you up within a half an hour of your set time, which you could try it and let me know in the comments if that was helpful. But I like that feature, even though I don't use it, because maybe one day I will. Another nice feature of this is the weight. So this is the band here, but the actual device is this little tiny thing right here. So the tracker is 5.2 grams, and then if you add a band in there, which could change depending on what band you use, but you're only at about 12 grams. And you could just look how small this is. So kind of neat. Let's talk about the battery life. I forgot actually what Google said. I think the Google says it's 7 days. But in my real world testing, I got about 9 days. Okay, so this is the charger you get. It's a USB-C, and it is actually quite a long cable. Then you just take your band and you plug it in like this, or attach it. And then you could also just turn this around. Same thing. And you get the light flashing here. If you can see that, that's the light that if you tap it, you can get it to light up. But I had a real hard time getting that done. But if it's blinking slowly like this, that means it's charging the way it's supposed to. And if it is flashing white, that means it is getting a firmware update. So kind of cool. And if it's red, then there's some sort of issue with the charging. This is also water resistant to 50 meters, and it's rated for 5 atmospheres. Now I'm in the app again, and I'll show you a couple of things with this app, which I have mixed feelings on, and I'll talk about that again a little more later, so stay with me. First, I want to show you about the auto detection, and there is actually a con with the auto detection, but there is actually a pro. So we're staying positive in this half of the video, so I'm going to show you the pro of the auto detection. It is a little wonky how you have to get into this feature, but you actually have to get into an activity. So if I just click on this, and we're going to click on this, and then once you click on an activity, then you can go up to here. And then we're going to go into activity settings. And we're just going to scroll down here. You can obviously see what is available here, but I want to show you activity detection. So let's click on that, and then we can turn it on and off. And I'll get into that in just a little bit as to why you might do that. And you can see what it detects here and all other workouts. The big thing here is that you can set the minimum duration you want to be doing the activity before the Fitbit Air will actually start tracking it, which is really nice. Now, it will go back to, if you're doing this for 10 minutes, it will go back to the 10 minutes. It will store that data and start from 10 minutes ago, but it won't show it in the app until after 10 minutes. And you can change this. And so if we go into walking, right? Minimum duration, 10 minutes is the least, but then you can go up here a little bit. And we can go up to 30 minutes, I think. There we go. So we can go to 10 minutes, which is actually nice. Some watches and bands, you can change the sensitivity of the auto detection because you don't want it clicking on every time you're in a parking lot and you're walking from the car to a store. You don't want it to be clicking that it's an activity, especially if you're going into like McDonald's or something for lunch or a shake. You don't need to have that activity tracked because you didn't earn it, right? And before people who love McDonald's start sending me hate mail, please, just change the joke to something else. KFC or Burger King or, anything that's unhealthy for you. The joke would work with any of that stuff. But let's keep going here. I also wanted to show you, so for biking, same thing. And if you were like a super athlete and you say, well, listen, I don't want anything tracked unless I do 30 minutes because that's not even an activity, right? I got to be exercising for 30 minutes before you even start counting it as something. So there you go. And then you could just save it. And now it's 30 minutes, right? I thought that wasn't going to work for a second. I know you did too, but it worked. And then all other workouts, same thing. We could do this. And that's actually, like I said, kind of a nice feature. And then I'll show you one more thing here. We're going to go into, we're still in the app, I should say. Now for this next Pro, I'm going to show you, it's in the health portion of the app right over here. I'm just going to scroll down here. You can see some of the data that is available, and you can customize this a little bit. I'll show you that in the cons, actually, because it's not as much customization as I would like. But I just wanted to show you, you have irregular heart rate detection right here. And the pro of this is that this is running in the background. It's just automatically going all the time, which is really nice. Now, the thing I don't like, and I know we're trying to stay positive here, but I don't want to go back into this menu again. So the ECG, this is not available on the Fitbit Air, and it might be just because I have a Pixel Watch paired to this watch as well, and you do have that feature on there, so that might be the reason. So you can let me know in the comments if you don't have a Pixel Watch and you have a Fitbit Air, does it show you the ECG feature? A lot of times companies have all these menus on here and they don't remove the features that are not available on the device that you have. And so speaking of the Pixel Watch, you can use the Fitbit Air and your Pixel Watch at the same time and the data will merge. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to get any data from the Pixel Watch. I just wanted to get the data from the Fitbit Air, but I'll test that in the future and give you an update maybe on my full review or maybe a short video on this. So subscribe and turn on your notifications and you'll hear about it when I post the video. Another pro of this is that you can share your heart rate. So let me just show you here. We're going to go into this little icon up here and we got to hit the Fitbit Air again. Again, it's a little clunky how to go through this here, but we just scroll this and then we're going to share heart rate. And there we go. You just got to get started and you compare this with, another device. Okay, another pro. Again, we're still trying to stay positive here, so let's get out of this little portion here. Going to go into the Today portion of the app. Okay, so another nice feature is that you can log your food. And it's a little easier than just manually typing it in all the time. So we just hit log here. Now, if you hit the camera icon, it's going to show me the AI feature of this, which I think you lose if you don't have the subscription. But I'm going to show you the other way you could do it if you didn't have the subscription, and then I'll activate the AI and show you how that works. But we just click food, and I could just type it in. We could do it the old-fashioned way, but I could also just scan the barcode here. Okay. It pulled up a vegetable beef soup, and that's what that is. And you can fill in the data here, but it does give you the calories, and it will input the right data, which is kind of cool. Now let's do it with the AI assistant here. Okay, now the AI assistant is activated and it's just opening up the camera, and I'm just going to take a little picture of this thing here, I think. And that's a nice picture, I know. And it's got the picture here. Now it's asking me, it's not as automatic as I thought it was going to be. I just ate this. Please log it. And so there you go. That took a little longer than I thought it was going to. So now if I just scroll over here, I can move these things around just a little bit. But there you go. There's the calories. So 240 calories. That's how you log your food. Other software does that a little bit better, but that's at least better than manually typing it in all the time. So that's good. Now, please let me know in the comments if you think I left off any pros or any cons after you watch the full video here. Would really appreciate some feedback. Thanks. So this little section here, this is neither pro or con. Just a couple of things I noticed and a couple of things you probably want to know. So this does track your heart rate, your SpO2, and your temperature. It does also have that irregular heartbeat monitoring, which is nice. It's running in the background, so that's great. It also does measure your HRV and your sleep tracking, and it'll give all your sleep stages and the sleep score and all that kind of stuff. Now, this is not a pro or a con, but there are no notifications on this. The only thing you have is that alarm, and there's definitely sometimes I wish I did get a little bit of a notification. I'll go into that in just a little bit. And then you have the LED light here, which is on this side over here. And it's nice that you have an LED light, actually. And there is some information that this will give you. I'll leave that in the description, but it will basically just show you your amount of your battery life, which is a nice thing. The concern I had is kind of very hard to get this to activate, and it didn't really work too well. But you got to tap it twice. I was going to say I thought it was going to show up right away this time. But you kind of have to do it hard. I finally did get it to work. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is the light is only on one side. And if this, you could easily just put this in the wrong way. You could just turn this around and, that will go in there just fine. And then you won't be able to see the light at all, no matter if it activates or not. This is very finicky. That could be updated very easily with the software update, so it might work for you in the future. But as of now, this is very hard to activate this. So you could just check the battery life in the app. Okay, so now there is a premium subscription that is available on this, and when you purchase this, as of now, you do get 3 free months of it, but after that, it's going to be $10 a month, which is kind of steep, right? And this is usually a hard con for me, but I decided to put this in the neither pro or con, because some people might really like this and not mind the extra $10 they have to pay. I don't know. But what are you going to get it? So you're going to get the same app, it's going to have the same layout, everything else is going to look the same, the colors, all that kind of stuff. But with the premium subscription, you're going to get the AI features, you're going to get the Gemini Insights, Gemini Coaching, and the Ask Coach. And then you also get a workout library up here where you can go, obviously just pick what you want to go through there. And the insights are, I don't know, not really all that useful for me so far. But supposedly, after you're using this for a while, and I think Google says a week or maybe even a month of using it, that it will have more details on you and it will give you more accurate information. And also, it will come up with good recommendations based on your fitness metrics. Now, I did a pros and cons video for the Pixel Watch 4, and I think I upset a few people based on my comments, but that's okay. I am trying to give you as much useful information as possible, and not everything is positive, just like life, right? So if you are liking this video so far, please subscribe, like, and share. Would really appreciate that, and maybe even hype it. That would be wonderful. Thank you so much. Really appreciate any support that you can give me. Thank you. And I figured I would ask you now before I get into the cons and upset some people. So, let's just get that out of the way. And of course, before I get into all the cons, I'm going to tell you that this is a new release product. I'm sure Google has some bugs that they're going to work out, and there's probably going to be a software release, and things might improve, and some of the cons that I'm talking about might go away. That's always possible, but I'm just going to tell you what I found so far, because you might be thinking about buying this right now, and I think you should have all this info. The first con is the auto detect mode, which you're kind of relying on a lot because you're wearing this and you want this to go off and you don't want to have to do anything with the phone. You just want to do your stuff and it just register everything. But you don't know if it's actually auto detecting anything or not, which kind of stinks. I wish it maybe would just give you a little vibration that, it started auto detecting and then maybe vibrate when it ends the auto detection. Now, the other thing though, and again, there's no screen on here, so obviously you can't see it there, but even if you go into the app and you go into what's going on in your activities, it may not even show that there's anything going on there. And that's even if it is tracking something. And even after you finish your exercise, you can go into the app and you don't even see that it tracked anything. It might take like a half an hour after you finish the exercise for it to actually post something in there. And then it may not even be right. So that I don't like at all. Now, I really can't trust the auto detect, and not in a way like you cheated on me and I can never, trust you again kind of thing. But as of now, it doesn't really track all my exercises, so I can't trust it to track them, and I kind of just have to manually input it. And it's not a terrible thing to have to manually input your exercise to start a workout, but it's just a little bit of a hassle that I don't like. On a watch, you just click it and you just go, which is a nice thing. To start a workout, you have to go into the, open your phone, go into the app, and then you hit start, and then you got to pick which exercise you want. And obviously, there's a lot of exercises here, which is great. Another con, the exercise tracking at this point is not great. And I don't know, I did see some other reviews on this, and it was working pretty good for a lot of people, but for me, it just wasn't. So let me give you a couple of examples of what's going on. And this, I feel like this might be a glitch between having the auto detect on and starting a manual workout, and then it's kind of like detecting something, and it's short-circuiting. I don't know. Because I did turn off the auto detect, and then I manually started an exercise, and it seemed to track that okay. So, again, it could be an auto detect thing. I don't know. Also, I am wearing, 2 different bands, a ring, watches, a bunch of stuff. Maybe Google got jealous of all the other devices tracking me, and I don't know. But it didn't work. Okay, so I just went into the fitness portion of the app here, and I just wanted to show you, this is my activity for a few days here, and this is a biking session. This was actually a 60-minute biking session, but it only recorded 12 minutes of it. This is one that I manually started, and again, it only recorded 12 minutes of it. The other issue is, you look here, I did 12 minutes. Okay, so it didn't record all of it. That's one thing. But now, 12 minutes, I certainly moved more than 0 miles, right? And my speed was certainly more than 0.1 miles an hour, I would think. I mean, I'm not in the greatest of shape, but, listen, I did more than this. So that is definitely an issue. So this is, again, another one. And it's using my phone's GPS. So we're basing it on that. And I have to blur this map out here, but I have a whole map here. The GPS, I have the data of, my route and my speed on the map, which is a nice feature. I like to see that. But then, and I got my time, 52 minutes here. Energy burn, whatever. But look, just, again, it's not tracking it at all. And I manually started this one, and I was just assuming that it was tracking this, so I didn't check the app and do anything like that. And again, here I am tracking 52 minutes, think I'm doing a great job, but it's half tracking it. So that I didn't really like. again, the main feature of this thing is to track my activity, and it doesn't seem to do it as of now, but this could just be a glitch. So this could just fix in the future. I'm just pointing these things out to you now, so try to refrain from any hate comments at this time. But let's keep moving. So there's another con. There's no GPS on this. Like I said, we have to use the phone's GPS, which is not bad. I mean, this is a really tiny little device here, so if you want to give up GPS, that's fine. But let me just show you one of the GPSs here. Okay, so again, this is the map on top here. And of course, I have to blur out most of the map. I can't let you know where I live, right? So if even after I blur this out, you could see I just went straight down the road, stayed on the sidewalk, on the same sidewalk the whole way, and I didn't make any turns or anything like that. And this is just one direction, so it's not like it's overlapping and screwing things up. But you could just see how wobbly this is. This looks like I went to a pub and had a couple of drinks, and I just kind of wandered my way home somehow. But that's not the case, I promise. Okay, so now I just blew this up a little bit just to show you in more detail what's going on. A lot of motion here that should not be there. I'm not even sure, what this is over here. And again, I know it's using my phone's GPS, and I know that's accurate. So it's probably just either connection issue that it's not keeping the GPS connected, or it's just a lousy algorithm and it doesn't know to kind of straighten out these lines a little bit. But other devices on the same exercise, recorded a straight path. So that is a bit of an issue. Now, like I said, I'm going to keep testing this for a little while and see if all these things improve. And I'm also going to compare this with the Amazfit Helio strap. I think I've had this for like a year and a half or so. And I really like this device. And I'm going to compare these guys, show you the features and all that kind of stuff. So stay tuned for that if you are interested. Now, I'm going to talk about this sleep data in just a little bit. But another con is that there is no stress measurement on this, which I don't know why it is not. And that could be a feature they add in the future. But as of now, it is not there. Now, I'm going to show you the sleep. I don't really get into the sleep data too much, but I did wear a couple of bands and watches and rings to bed, and I did compare the sleep data just to see what's going on. And of course, none of them are 100% consistent, and they all use different algorithms. But just wanted to show you this. This is me being awake. I was not up during this time. I was completely sleeping. And this, I looked at it the next day, and I was like, what is that? So this is just completely wrong. So another con of the app here is that I'm actually editing this in after the fact, so I'm not exactly sure where I put it, but I think I showed you before. The Google Fitbit Air was actually showing that I was awake most of the night when I really wasn't. But it happened again, and it says it right here that, you woke up, and that's one thing, that it's, it's not recording me as sleeping, it's recording me as being awake. But then it gave me a notification at 2 a.m. saying, well, okay, your sleep was cut short, so maybe do this, that, and the other thing. But it's giving me a notification at 2:07 and now waking me up when I wasn't awake. And normally you just get that kind of notification in the morning and it just gives you the update for the day and all that other stuff. But with this one, it went off in the middle of the night, which is, like I said, kind of ridiculous that Google does that. Maybe they should just wait a few minutes and make sure I'm completely awake before they start sending me a notification, waking me up. Hopefully this will get more refined, but I keep saying that throughout the video. So there's a lot of things that I think we need to refine. These are proprietary bands. I mean, you got a little puck area here that you got to stick this thing. And it would be nice if it had a standard band that I could just change any band I want and use it. Because proprietary bands, I mean, they're nice, especially for a little puck like this. I mean, I could see why they did this. But it does limit your options, and it also does make them usually a little more expensive. Of course, for this one, this is a very popular device. So there is going to be a lot of third-party bands, I'm sure, arm bands and all that kind of stuff, but they're not out yet. And you say, well, Paul, you can't have a standard strap on this. Look at this little puck. Well, look, this is the Helio strap, right? This is their standard band that they had, quick pins. And this is just the band that I had from Amazfit, but quick pins. And, this is just a little puck too. I mean, okay, this one's actually much bigger. But I think there's a way they could have done it. But that's just wanted to point it out to you. That's all. Okay, so now we're back in the app, because this is another con, because the app is very basic, which is sometimes nice. But I like all those little hidden menus and finding new secrets and things like that, and I like to tell you about it. But this app is basic and not very intuitive at the same time, and it's not very customizable. So I'm editing the video and I'm adding this after the fact, so that's why the stats are all different here, and the week just restarted, so that's why the cardio was off. But normally, if I want to see these metrics, okay, those are the metrics you have. And, well, let me just show you quick here. You could just hit this, and then this is the metrics that you can add. So you can minus these if you want, and these are all the ones that you could add in there. And then you get a couple of large widgets that you can add. But if you go like this, and you want to maybe move one of these things over, you can't do it. So if I want to put something over here, I just can't move it. Again, there's no way to do it. It just doesn't work. So this is just like in the other issue that I'm going to show you, is that you can't move these things around. So if you want it in a different order, as of now, you got to minus them and then add them in the right order that you want, which is really kind of crazy. So very little customization on this. I'm assuming that's going to get it fixed with a software update, and I'll have another video and I'll show you the updates if everything goes through like it's supposed to. But if it doesn't, then I'll also let you know about that too. But let's get out of that. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you, so this is my data, and again, there's not a lot of data that you can see right here, but it's enough. But if I want to see what happened yesterday, well, it's not so easy. Usually on most fitness apps, there's a little icon up here, a little calendar date or something, and I just hit this and I just go to a different day. I can go to the last month, I can go to the last year, whatever. It's very easy to go through it because I just click this and the calendar pops up, or I could hit arrows and go to the last couple of days, and I have quick access to at least several weeks. So if you want to see your other data on this app, you actually have to scroll through it. And you're going to get like the AI comments, and they save the AI comments, so you got to go through all these. So to get through a day, there's a lot of scrolling that you got to get through just to get through some stuff, as you can see here. I mean, I'm going a while here. I didn't even get into the day before. So that's kind of crazy. Now, if you go to fitness, you can get in, and this is also only available in the premium version, the workout library here. So to show you previous activities, it's definitely much better, and I hope this would come to the other data. But if you just scroll here, you got your activities here that you can show some more, and then you can pick your day. And then if you open up your day, then you could show by the month, or you can go week by week and see what's going on, right? So that's much better. But what if I just wanted to see my heart rate and my HRV? And for this one, you really can't. You can't get this homepage to replicate in another day, which is kind of a disadvantage, I would say. Now you could hit steps. And now you get the calendars, and you could do a week and a month and 3 months and all that kind of stuff. And you can even go, day by day. But that's just for steps. Now, if I want to know my readiness, I got to click on that. If I want to know my sleep, I got to click on that. Whereas usually, like I said, most fitness apps, you could just scroll through here, get to the other days very quickly, and have the same amount of data that you see today, you'll see on a previous day. But then also, if we go into health here, and some nice information here, some nice graphs, and that's nice. And you get some areas of focus here. I showed you some of this stuff. But then, if you want to customize this, great. I can minus these. Nice. And I could add these things, so you could just see what is available for me to add. That's all nice. Another thing, this doesn't measure the blood glucose, so that shouldn't even be an option with this app. But I can't move any of this stuff. Let me just go up to the top. I push it. I can't do it at all. I think what they expect you to do is kind of minus them and then add the ones you want in the order you want. So I guess you could minus them all, and then you could start from the beginning and just pick which ones you want to show up on the top. I'm not sure, but that is not a very user-friendly thing. This will probably be worked out, and they will update this, and this won't be an issue. You'll be watching this video and say, Paul, you're just an idiot. Of course you can move these things around. You just have to hold it for another second. But as of now, I just wanted to show you you can't do it. That is all the pros and cons that I can come up with at this point. If you want to see more stuff about this, please leave some questions in the comments, and I will answer them or kind of show you in another video. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video.